Breeders' Cup weekend is almost upon us. Best way to play the Breeders' Cup races and all the races through NYRA You're not a member? Head to NYRABets.com. Use the promo code CUP25. $200 deposit match as well as a free $25 play. The Breeders' Cup action kicks off with the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. Not sure that's a championship division, but it is a Breeders' Cup race nonetheless. We've got Euros, we've got U.S. horses. Let's talk about the U.S. horses first. Here's the field, a full field of 14, and Avery Jane trying to make it a clean sweep for Wesley Ward, one of a few in here for Wesley Ward in these Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprints, and I guess Avery Jane can win. We'll take a look at her last race, and there's a lot of she's against a lot of he's in this race, the two-year-olds. And Avery Jane dominated winning the Indian Summer, also against the boys down at Keeneland. Now, she's been able to control in these races, but on the dirt, she's rated in a couple of races as well. Competition is much, much sterner here, and there is the potential for other speeds in this race. Run Curtis Run, not an impossible player in this race. One-timer who we'll get to has speed. Twilight Jet, the European, has speed in this race. So don't know that it's going to be so easy on the front end for Avery Jane, and certainly she can win. But I think she's going to be overbet because of the connections, and I'd rather take a shot and go a little bit elsewhere. The horse that I'm interested in the most is the number 11, Serling, for Christophe Clement, who's trying to still win a Breeders' Cup race. Still a pretty good trainer, though. Now, Serling got a good trip up at Canada, but she really improved, and maybe that improvement in her third career start, her Beyer figs went from the mid-50s to an 81, a figure that could make her contentious in here, and maybe it was getting the firm turf at Woodbine that really helped out her chances. She gets Joel Rosario, in my opinion, the best turf sprint rider in the country. She gets some pace to run at, and more importantly, she figures to be a square price. And considering my record in these Breeders' Cup turf sprint races not that strong, I need a price here. So Serenane's going to be my top selection. Let's talk about One-Timer and Time to Party. Got some California horses in here. Now, One-Timer's one of the choices on the morning line. I don't get it. Doesn't mean she's not going to, or he's not going to get it done here, and he's got speed. Problem I have is this is a mile race, and it's not nearly good enough to win this race. Now, you're hoping that he's not a miler, he's a sprinter. He's won both of his sprints with 80 Beyers. Problem? Those races were on synthetic, not on turf. And I'm not one of those people that think synthetic and turf are the same. I think there's three distinct surfaces. One-Timer might be able to win this race. There's plenty of other speed in this race. There's plenty of other talent. And I think One-Timer's a horse that's going to take a lot of money in here that I am looking to avoid. Let's talk a little bit about some horses that have raced overseas, but we'll start with one that's raced both here and overseas for Wesley Ward. That's the Stone Street runner, Twilight Gleaming. This horse will take a look at a second-place finish behind Quick Susie, who chose not to play, and this is the Queen Mary on opening day at the Royal Ascot meeting. Ran very, very well here in a big field to finish second. Nothing wrong with this horse. Beat a lesser field last time out at Deauville. I'm not going to knock Twilight Gleaming. Wesley Ward's had success here, and the difference between Twilight Gleaming and Avery Jane is a lot of odds. This horse will be a much, much bigger price than Avery Jane. It's sort of my infamous fifth pick, but this is another layer in a deep, deep race. Let's talk a little bit more about some Europeans. The European that I like the most is Go Bears Go. The European we're going to look at here, though, is Twilight Jet, who drew the rail. Twilight Jet has had 10 starts this year. It's pretty unusual. And Twilight Jet is very talented. Ran a race that a few players near are coming out of, most notably Armour and Bears Go. And while he finished fifth that day, I think he found the 6 furlongs real far. This is a 5-furlong race, and he was dominant. A Group 3, but nonetheless, this is a pretty facile win for one of these races, especially at 5 furlongs. I like Twilight Jet. I think he's a player in here, but he's got to go gutting out of the rail with all the speed in here, and a lot of these U.S. speeds may be faster. I think he's in some trouble. Getting back to the number 3, Go Bears Go, he's the European I like the most. I thought he's overall run some of the better races, and I think 7 furlongs was just too far for him last time. He also lost to horses like Native Trail, Dubawi Legend, who drew so poorly in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, Perfect Power, beaten ahead at 5 furlongs by Perfect Power back at Royal Ascot. Perfect Power, one of the best European runners, so while I respect Armour, I respect Go Bears Go, he's the one I like the most. Run Curtis Run, I left him out. He ran very, very well in his last race, his only turf race in the Futurity, and I could see worse long shots than him. These races are crapshoots, and to me, I think you're supposed to find a price and play off of that horse. My price, as I mentioned before, is the number 11, Serling, my top choice. Go Bears Go second, Avery Jane third, and Twilight Jet fourth. As always, a wide-open Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. Best way to play it? Play it through NyraBets. Head on over to NyraBets.com. Use the promo code CUP25, and we will match the $200 of your initial deposit, as well as give you a free $25 play on these Breeders' Cup races.